going on with you, man?
You know C100?
Yes.
I did C100 iHeartRadio, and it was live. And then I sang, and I had one of these shirts on, but it was a blue one. And I sang, and then it was sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts, and I freaking looked like a donut because the camera had hands and the shirt was tight.
No, you look
I was like,
good.
never again. Okay, all right.
You look good.
You have a wide range of talents. You can do music, you can act, and you've been into all these places, and this opportunity of just being the judge and your perspective, like where do you see the direction of like where it's going as far as with the concert that it had, the performance that are there? How did that make you feel as far as like you being the older guy and you seeing all these young guys like, man, they have so much ahead of them?
It made me feel good that there's still a lot of passion, you know, because now it's all about, you know, like TikTok and things. So the spectrum has changed. Remember, so when I first came out, they were still dealing with CDs. You know what I mean? So like my first album came out in 2009. So they're still CDs. Streaming didn't really start popping off until like 2012. You know, so you know, I know the challenges that they have, but it's, you know, it's a catch-22 in today's industry, meaning that you know back in, you know, the 90s, 2000s, you know, and prior to that, you had to have a record deal, right? If you really wanted to be seen and heard or get major exposure. And now, because of social media, you don't need a record deal, or you get a record deal from your social media following. But the reason I say it's a catch-22 is because now the market is oversaturated, right? Yeah. So now everybody can do it, which is great, but then what's not great is everybody can do it. So it's like you know, and so that's why I was greatly impressed that everybody brought their A game. Because they all did. They all brought their A game, and I can tell, you know.
Definitely. So as far as billboards, and I think we did talk about this last time.
But you couldn't hear me and I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, that was the part. So now that we're here, as clear as possible. Going back to you saying that you were able to achieve that, these accolades.
Yes.
But what I wanted the people to know as far as your come up, the struggles that you had to go through, and like I said, going back to the concert, you see all these young cats. This may be their first concert, second concert.
It was their first concert.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
What struggles did you have to go through in order to break barriers and achieve all those success that you were able to achieve?
So I still go through struggles, but the struggles that I had to go through, I think that my struggles are just the same as any other artist. It might have been a little different because I grew up in a lot of people in Jersey, because I've been in Jersey for over a decade, and I identify actually with New Jersey, specifically Newark, more. But I actually grew up in New York. I actually grew up in Queens, so. The only thing
Queens Village.
I grew up in Queens Village.
What? Damn, what's going on?
217, you know the library? The Queens Village Library? Well, I'm right off 217, right off Jamaica Avenue.
Jamaica Avenue, right there.
Where were you in Queens Village? I can't believe this. How come we never had this discussion?
I don't know why. Damn, Queens Village. I remember I lived by like a school. It's a big school. I forget the name of it.
Martin Van Buren, 109?
Yes.
109?
I believe, and it had the park right behind it.
It could have been Martin Van Buren.
I'm not too familiar. I was too young when I was little.
Wow, but I can't believe that. And do people do it, like when I say Queens Village, people think I'm saying Middle Village.
Yeah.
They don't know like Queens Village is an actual town between Hollis and Jamaica.
It is.
So okay, great. Wow, wow. We gotta talk after this now.
Small world.
But so I grew up in Queens Village and also Bayside. I went to Bayside High School. So maybe the little thing that may be a bit different with me is at that age, when I was 18 or 19, I moved out and I moved into the Lower East Side of Manhattan. So that might have been different than what these young people are doing, and I'm not advising that because that was definitely a struggle because I had to work 2 jobs, and then I had to work on my demo, and then at night I would try to go to the clubs. Hey, will you play my stuff? Will you play my stuff? And
working overtime.
Nobody played it. But I had a lot of great adventures that I certainly would not trade for the world, and I met a lot of people. I became friends with Amadou Diallo, and you know what I'm saying? So like, you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't, these things, so like, and my roommate, I ended up moving from the place that I was staying at, renting a room, to moving with a roommate whose girlfriend was a professional pickpocketer. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. So I had quite a few, I had quite a few adventures, but my struggle was probably the same, just working two jobs, trying to get the demo tape out there, then working at a record store. And anybody that would come in, which I could have gotten fired for, but I didn't care because that was my purpose of doing it, you know what I mean? So just the struggle is validation, you know, still to this day. It's funny because I was having a conversation with somebody and I said, you know, I'm really lucky and blessed to have a lot of celebrity and or established recording artist supporters. I'm really lucky about that. And I'll get all these support from there. For example, the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Dolores Catania, Margaret Josephs, and Marge Sr. They're in my No Day Like Today music video to It with Adam Barta, which is my Billboard charting single. And so Adam is friends with them, and they were gracious enough to appear in the video, but they're still so supportive of me. And so you get things like that. But then some independent artists, I feel like I'm not getting respect from independent artists, but I'm getting respect from celebrities and recording artists. It's usually the other way around. Usually you get the respect of...
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know. I even was able to get on Video Music Box, Ralph McDaniel's Uncle Ralph, classic hip-hop show, you know, but then when there's local places, and I'm like, well, yes, I still want to be in touch with local, like, they'll be like, oh, we'll let you know. I'm like, what? Thanks to the Grammys, got a video on MTV. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's not about bragging, it's just, it's weird. So my struggles are a little bit different, I feel like Benjamin Button, it's kind of reverse.
Do you think because you've already had these accolades on your plate that bigger establishments would accept you because it's like a resume?
Yes, absolutely. I'll be doing, for example, I'll be doing celebrity boxing at Showboat. We're in Atlantic City right now, so I'll be doing celebrity boxing at the Showboat.
Is there anything coming up? Anything coming up? Oh, June 12th?
Mm-hmm. June 12th. And that's going to be with Lamar Odom and Aaron Carter. And one of the
I'm sorry, but I had to laugh when I heard about that, Lamar Odom. I know he's just recovering too.
It's okay.
But it's just like, nah, we're proud to him. You know what I mean? Just a black man just struggling with like drug addiction and everything like that. There's more power to him for the come up, but like being around these celebrities, do you see anything like that strikes you as like a funny vibe? I know the industry is like, you know, it is what it is.
I'm lucky to be friends with celebrities that I looked up to growing up, and that actually superseded my expectations. So when I was a kid, my favorite horror film actress was Linnea Quigley, and I made my dad take me to a horror convention at the Javits Center just to see her. There were other people there, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all those people, and I love those, but I specifically went for Linnea Quigley. I was 12 years old, you know, and I looked up to her growing up because she was doing a Q&A there, and in the middle of, I don't know if we can curse on this, can we curse on that? Okay, so in the middle of the Q&A, somebody yells out, "Nice tits!" Like the whole crowd heard, and you know what her response was?
What was her response?
Like, she brushed off, she didn't even acknowledge it. So I took that.
Wow.
I took that. Like, if ever I'm on stage, one time I was on stage when I first started out, so I was like, "Get the fuck off the stage, you can't sing." I was like crickets, like I didn't even pay attention. So anyhow, fast forward 2 years later, I'm co-starring with her in 2 films. And so that's another dream come true because this was somebody I looked up to, you know, and now I got to meet her and hang out with her, and she's everything, you know. A lot of times people say don't meet your idols because you will be disappointed.
I heard that a lot, yeah.
And I can't say I was disappointed at all with her. And that's great, you know what I'm saying? Now, like, she's one of my best friends now, but like, you know, there's other people that, Robin Bird, I recorded a song with Robin Bird, and she was one of the first breakout adult film stars to cross into the mainstream, and again, amazing person, and we did a song together, and then that's why I ended up being on Good Day New York and Page 6, the gossip pages. So like, all those experiences were good. There was one person that I was a little disappointed with. I don't want to say their name. That I worked with. But it was more of, I just think there was more drinking issues. I'm in sobriety, I'm 15 years sober. But it wasn't necessarily a disappointment of them. I think it's because they were drinking is why this person you know. But other than that, but it was still a great experience. But you know, so I can't say that I funny. Like, have I been involved with some celebrities? I've been involved with some people in the sports world. But I'm not going to kiss and tell.
Right.
Even if they want to, I'm not going to.
You think it's probably they probably have a bunch of.
I'm not going to. They can, and right. They're silly on their part because they're the ones who want to keep secrets. And then I see some stuff on social media. I'm like, oh, I didn't say anything. I'm very private about my sex life, about who I go to bed with. But if they want to talk about it, that's cool. But I've been involved with some sports people. Yeah. Nobody in the celebrity boxing though. That has nothing to do with it. I promise you. I promise you. This is pre-celebrity boxing.
Definitely.
None of them are. I know in that way.
Definitely.
They're good friends of mine though. Shout out to Hazel Roche and Josh Cologne.
There you go.
And Damon Feldman. Damon Feldman is the creator of celebrity boxing, and Lindsay Finelli.
Definitely, man.
Yes.
And he's going to be here in June too, right?
Damon Feldman is the man. He will be there. Wendy Williams will be there.
I'll try to be there.
You better be there. I don't hear no try.
I'll be there, man.
No try. What is this?
Going back to your music track record too, I've seen that you've been in the game for a while now. You've got a lot of...
First album came out in 2008. First single came out in the early 2000s.
So how was... So, it's 2021 now. You're going all the way back to when you started your music. How did it...
I had hair.
Surprise, surprise, guys.
I look better shaved. People say to me all the time, but you Google me, you'll see I had like spiky hair.
There you go. How'd you start? How'd you, what inspired you?
There were 3 records when I was a kid.
Right.
3 artists rather. There was Donna Summer.
Okay.
Donna Summer. Cyndi Lauper. And the Bee Gees. A lot of people, and I don't know if it's because when I sing high. I don't know if it's because I was listening to the Bee Gees when I was younger, but I have a high range. And then the Village People and Randy Jones is a good friend of mine. So those records when I was little, I just was singing them and doing that, and I always just knew that I wanted to sing. And then I loved horror movies as a kid, so I said, okay, when I act, I'm going to do horror movies. And yeah, so it wasn't just it was just as a child, I always knew this is what I wanted to do.
Sure.
I always said this is what I wanted to do.
Did you have people in your family that does music?
Professionally, no. My dad recorded a demo. To my knowledge, he did record a demo, not to my knowledge. I know he recorded a demo, but I don't know how much. It was him and another guy. They recorded a few songs together. I don't know. I was too young to know how much they tried to get a deal. They didn't get a deal, but I don't know how much, if they did it for fun or I don't know.
To go along with you, like, because I've seen your music videos. So did you get a lot of eyeballs on the music, or did that come after the acting gigs started kicking in?
No, the music.
The music stuff, right? Started kicking off. And then...
Well, I was doing both simultaneously, but more. If you ask people, if people know me, and you say, "What's Lavari, singer and actor?" I think more people are going to be apt to say singer, which is weird because I have won awards for my acting. But I think that people are just inept to say singer because the first product of mine that out was music. Yeah. So I would say that. You know, I love them both equally. With acting, though, obviously you're playing somebody, so you have more control for music, right? Because I'm the creator. I write my own songs. My latest album is an album of remakes of my other albums. I wrote all my songs. But you know, with music you can create. So I can create a character. I can create my look. With acting you can't.
Yeah.
That whatever that is what it is. I mean, you can incorporate your own emotions into it. You have to be respectful of whoever the writer is that wrote that part. You know, so. You know, music obviously gives me more of a creative platform, but I love acting just as much, especially horror films. And there's a movie called Born 2. It's a horror franchise with Linnea Quigley and Ari Lehman, who played Jason in Friday the 13th, so I have a supporting role in that. That should be coming out later this year. And then there's a mini horror that I did called Zombie Games, starring Linnea Quigley again, and co-starring me, so that'll be coming out later on this year. And then I'll be doing another horror film called Terror Tunes Part 4. It's a horror franchise. We film in April in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So I mean, with the acting thing, do you think that do you think more artists should just branch out more as far as like trying new things to just instead of just focusing on one thing?
No,
As being
I think that you should just whatever your dreams are, you should do. I don't think there should be a thing where you should try it or you should try this. No, try whatever you desire. You know what I'm saying? Like just try whatever you desire. But I think that when a person is an entertainer, they naturally do have facets of acting and writing and singing. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's a thing, like a sports person, right? You know, because think about how many sports players have crossed over, right, and done basketball and then ended up doing another sport too.
Definitely, yeah.
Just as good, like Michael Jordan, right? So I think that it's just a natural thing. Like if you had the specific ability of that, you will naturally cross over to another spectrum. But I don't think you should do. I think if it makes you happy, do it. I don't think it should be a requirement because then it's not really art, is it? Right? It's not, is it? If you say, well, why don't you should act? Is that really then an artist, or is that just, you know what I mean? Then it becomes almost like
you're doing too much. It's like a
not doing too much. Not doing too much. No, not doing too much, but it's being forced.
Okay.
It's being forced. Like a lot of people tell me that I should be do a podcast because my speaking voice is very
I think you should.
But I don't want to.
You don't want to. Okay.
See what I'm saying? Like I don't want to. And then I had somebody, just a fan, just tell me. I call my fans L-fams. Tell me on because they're like family, you know, family, and I'm very grateful and respectful. But like somebody said, hey Laura, you should do a podcast because you're so positive, and I was like, oh, I really appreciate that, but I just don't want to. But like if I did it just to do it, then would it really be creative?
I mean, what if because just going from what you're telling me now, you have a lot to offer for people that don't know how to get into that entertainment business. And I think just looking at your track record, some people like Lane. Like I'm about to ask you a question too. How did you get on Billboard? And can you lay out step by step of what you had to go through?
I mean, ultimately to get on Billboard, I had to get a promoter.
Okay.
I had to get a
stuff like that. Some people don't even know. Like
But you don't have to. That was the route that I was tired of waiting for streams to pick up and certain, you know, Billboard's very difficult. iTunes is much easier than Billboard. Billboard's very difficult. Billboard tracks. It depends on the record. Mine was a house record, you know. So there's certain DJs that track and report to Billboard, and there's certain stations that reports to Billboard. You know what I mean? So that's you know, for iTunes, it is sales. If you can get people buy your stuff on iTunes, you can easily chart on iTunes. I've been lucky to chart on iTunes several times before I even charted on Billboard. You know what I mean? So I had actually all my albums except one charted on iTunes. My latest one went all the way to number 2 on the iTunes electronic chart and number 28 on the iTunes pop chart. So iTunes is easy. iTunes is based on Apple sales. Yeah, Apple sales, yeah. But Billboard, for me, my own route was I eventually went to a promoter to help me. Person that specializes in that. But it's not impossible to do it yourself.
Right.
You just have to know who, and I don't even have that information offhand. I don't know what DJ reports to what. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what? I've been doing it all these years. It's my number one goal. It's the only goal that I was not able to achieve solely on my own. And I said, it's okay. So now I'm going to invest in and get help for that because that's my number one goal.
How much help did you? So
I did everything else myself.
Everything else yourself.
Everything else myself.
For the Billboard.
No.
It's for.
No.
I'm speaking as far as for the Billboard because a lot of these people that are listening are independent too, and their hopes and dreams is just to make it big, just to be able to achieve something for their family. But how?
I don't have a manager.
Okay.
And people are shocked when I say that. It was like, who's the manager? It's me, myself, and I. Because number one, because I don't have a lot of money right now. So I gotta do things that I know that other people pay thousands of dollars for. So I had to utilize my social skills. I had to utilize my business writing, email preparation skills, which is very important. People are getting hundreds of emails a day. Keep it short, keep it simple.
Right.
Keep it short, keep it simple. Think about when you click on stuff. When you're on Google, you click on stuff that it might not even interest you, but the headline might grab you. You know what I'm saying? So, like when I did the song with Robin Bird. Robin Bird is a known name in the adult film industry. She's a known name in New York. You know, she's known. So when I was sending out the press release for that, I didn't put my name. I put former porn star releases song. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't even mention the subject. And then in the thing, I mentioned me in the second part. I didn't even mention me. So, you know what I'm saying? Former porn star releases song. I mean, come on.
Straight clickbait.
Who's not gonna write? Who's not gonna click? You know, so you have to know how to do it. You can't. I don't like when people say in bios. I don't like when people say, "Oh, I sound like Michael Jackson." I don't like when people do that. I don't like when you can say who your influences are, but it's not even, to me, that's not even necessary. Because people are going to say what they want to say. I've had people say I sound like Britney Spears. I have people say I sound like Mariah Carey. I have people say I sound like Prince. I have people say I sound like the guy, William Hong, that can't sing. She bangs on American Idol. Like, I've had so many compliments and so many horrible. No, for real. So like you can't. Everybody's gonna have a different opinion.
But you think
so
this it kind of is, to be it's kind of like a second nature. When you hear a song, or you hear a new upcoming song, you're naturally going to try to relate it to somebody, regardless if you intentionally want to or not. But it's just like
I can't sing when I have an experience.
Yeah. But I definitely understand. I respect that.
You'll never see me singing a song about drugs because I don't do drugs. Okay, so you'll never hear me sing a song about that. I had one song that I wrote called "Ride with Me." I don't know how to drive, but I used "Ride with Me" as a euphemism. You know what I'm saying? Like as a chill with me, ride with me.
Some West Coast vibe type. Yeah.
Exactly. It wasn't meant to be like really ride because I don't know how to drive. That's probably the only song that I did that deviated from. Not a real experience, but then again, I wasn't using it as that experience. So was that what you were trying to get at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You kind of know how to balance.
I won't sing something I didn't go through. Right. Every song, every remake on my current album, Moment of Love, even though the remix, I had to either experience that or feel that way. You know, I couldn't do a song. There's some songs that I love, but if I'm not through. I love the Weeknd song "Feel My Face," but I know it's about drugs, right. So I would never cover it because I don't do drugs.
Right.
You know?
I respect.
Yeah.